Right, good morning, everyone. Give me 1 second to get finished set up here, and we will get after it. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all. Yes. Today is March 17th, 2022, and the stock market is going to go crazy. More crazy than it did yesterday? Absolutely. This is going to be day 2 of the Fed. And usually what will happen is the market will have absorbed and kind of decided what it wanted to do with the data that came out yesterday. Okay. The data that came out yesterday was kind of already baked into it, except for we'll just get into that in a second. So I'm Algo. I do a live stream every morning, Monday through Friday. I'm going to start doing them at like 8 o'clock Eastern. Go from 8 till 9 Eastern. That gives everybody 30 minutes before the market opens to finish doing what they need to do. It also gives me 30 minutes before the market opens for me to be able to do what I need to do. Excuse me. Just make it. I'm still getting everything set up here. So if that was loud, I apologize. Let's see. I need to get into here. And good morning, chat. Morning, chat. How we doing? All right. I've got a little bit of earnings to go over. Nothing super like, I don't know, nothing super cool. But Riot did come out with some earnings, right? They posted a $7.9 million net loss in 2021 compared with a loss of $12.7 million in 2020, driven by non-cash stock-based compensation expenses of $68.5 million and a non-cash unrealized loss of $36.5 million on impairment of digital assets. I don't understand what that means, but I do see a chart in front of me that's got perfect bull flag setting up here, right? Perfect little bull flag setting up here. All right, so it came in, they had earnings, kind of just blah on that earnings, right? But what I see is I see an overhead resistance, kind of a little channel here, right? There's a channel with a bull flag, looking for that breakout, trying to get some stack positive moving averages, waiting for some squeezes to be released to the upside. So we could go for a daily mid at 1672 through the 4-hour cloud, right? Up to test around 1695. Using 1680 as support, we retest the 50-day, coming in here at 1750, on our way up to 1850. Now, if we think about this, I cannot believe Riot was literally a $14 stock 2 days ago. If I had known that, I bought it back down here at 13. I sold it at 16. I bought commons on it, right? If this bull flag does not break out and it comes back down, I will be buying commons on it on Friday, because this is a very easy to see pattern, right? So if it does bull flag break out here, basically I'm looking for a move above the highs, so above 1658, right? And let's just show you what this looks like here. So we have this guy there. I keep saying fib channel, but that's not what I want. I want this one. There we go. That to that. Down to this guy. Right? If we make this a little larger. Right? Kind of got a nice little channel going on there. Really close, right? Falling channel. Bull flag breakout. Yeah, this is pretty easy to see. So I'm looking at either 1850. Yeah, the 1850 calls or the 13 puts, just depending on which way it breaks today. Okay. The market has been sloughing off since the open. I'm not super thrilled with it. Healthcare, no news. Riot and financials. Should we check in on the craziness that is the Chinese ADRs? So I want you to know that Pinduoduo came up on the weekly watch list. I chose not to do it because there's too many of them, right? Pinduoduo, JD, right? All these showed up on the scanner going into this week, and I was like, that's putting a lot of weight in this in China, and I didn't feel comfortable sharing it with everybody. I think I did JD from the weekend watch list, though, right? It's made its move, right? Went 40 to 65, right? Rallied up to the daily mid. Look for a back test for that to about 60, right? If 60 holds, then we take our next move back up to the 50-day at 70. Yeah. So if you want the continuation for JD, maybe pretty strong, but we would need a pullback. Oh, I'm tired. I am tired. ES is doing the Wu-Tang reversal right now, which makes me kind of happy. But is it a failed Wu-Tang reversal? We're going to find out. Come on. There we go. We're going to test it. Let me show what that looks like real quick. All right. For those of you that don't know about the Wu, it looks like this. Right? Right? As soon as we can crack above that, we go long on this leg right here. As long as we get above the 2 spot. Wait, what is that thing? Right, long above the 2 spot. Catch that 5th wave up. Most times they'll reject right here and come back down. So this is also the 200-day. If we reject this and come back down, trap between the 50, chop, 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 launch. So I'm putting a little risk on thinking that we can get above the 2, right? The 2 spot. For a nice move to the upside. Got stopped out. So I guess that, like I said, see, failed the 200, being held up by the 50. See, it's trying, so it may just sit here and bull flag all day, right? All right, where was I? CF Industries is increasing fertilizer shipments to both U.S. coasts from the nitrogen complex in Louisiana to help offset a decline in exports from Russia after it invaded Ukraine. Yeah, fertilizer's a big deal, right? Y'all understand the global impact of Russia being like, yo, we'll just cut off their fertilizer supply and people can't grow food. Can't grow food, people die, right? What do lazy farmers need? Fertilizer. Purchased fertilizer. Manufactured fertilizer. right? Yeah, it's sketch. Let's see. What else we got here? So Nordstrom announced today it's reinstating its quarterly dividend, approved by a quarterly dividend of up 19 cents per share. That's pretty good, especially since the stock doesn't cost that much, right? It's what, $25 stock? 19 cents per share. You get 1 share per 2 years. That compounds and grows, right? That's 19 cents per share. So if you bought 100 of them, right, you would get $19 per quarter. So basically you would get almost 1 share per quarter, 4 shares per year. And that's if you only owned 100, right? See how that drip program works, right? Y'all get that? Okay. We'll get into that drip reinvestment program at a later point, okay? But Nordy has got, this kind of looks like the whole market yesterday. Big up, get backfill, up and up. V-shaped recovery, look for overhead resistance. Bull flag breakout to 27. I don't think it gets above 28, right? That'd be monthly mid. That's pretty decent reversal point. And I got stopped out again. Failed Wu-Tang reversal. One last shot at it. Oh, you better give it to me now. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. All right. Let me get rid of that stupid macro news. We do have a couple of we got some events to go over today. Sorry, I've got to clear this. All right, there we go. Forex Factory. All right, 8:30 Philly Manufacturing Index, unemployment claims, right? Industrial production and monetary policy statement. That's Japan. Natty gas should be it for today, right? Earnings after the close. Nothing that we really trade. Gamestop, FedEx have earnings today, so check it. Yo, FedEx. FedEx has earnings. This is a big move, right? Things are going to start looking a lot more like this, getting above the 5,200, and when they do, they're going to explode, right? Boom. Explosions start happening in the lower time frames. But remember, upper time frames, we still have some overhead resistance, right? Out of the 4-hour top, daily top magnet, so 230-esque possibly today. Like we hit 229, 230. Or we back test back down to 225 to 230. Nice little move. Earnings today, so if you're going to get any sort of options, look for getting them a week out, right? Getting next week's possibly. So 1 attempt failure, 2 attempt failure, 3 up, right? Pretty strong stock. Yes, sir. All right, that was FedEx, GameStop, right? There's lots of info around GameStop. So what did they do last earnings, right? Last earnings, they fell off a cliff. So the safe move for GameStop is long above 97, 109, 114, 124, right? Failure rally to the 21, failure, rally to the 21. Do we failure or do we reverse? Like, you'll understand it when we get into the futures of how the 21 is going to be really effective. Okay. I think that's it after the close, the two that I was interested in. Jobless claims estimated 220, continuation claims, Philly Fed survey index. These are all coming up in about 14 minutes. Building permits and industrial production. Right. Until then, we might just see some chop, and I'll continue to get stopped out of my futures positions because it failed breakout. All right. U.S. stocks are slipping. U.S. stock futures are slipping overnight, down about 0.4% from the 43.40. Remember 43.40? We called that sucker right out. Down to about 43.40 from the high of 43.71 and as low as 43.29. As Russia says reports of major progress in Ukraine talks are wrong. Russian forces in Ukraine are still blasting targets as the war enters its fourth week. Somebody somewhere told me this stuff is going to be over in a couple days. Negative ghostwriter. Okay. Putin, meanwhile, warned against attempts by the West and his Russian opponents to bring about the destruction of Russia, signaling an even greater crackdown on the opposition to the war. Biden condemned Putin, calling him a war criminal. Listen, I don't know if you understand how bullies work, right? But you can't be a soul soldier and try to stand up to a bully. You gotta be willing to take a hit. Anyway. Kremlin responded to the comment, calling it unacceptable and unforgivable rhetoric. Clearly, the headline risk from Europe is far from behind us, despite the strong market reaction the last couple of days. Stocks rallied in a wild session on Wednesday, despite the Federal Reserve raising rates and saying it would hike another 6 times this year. As the Dow gained over 500 points, 1.55%. S&P is up 2.24% for the biggest two-day gain since April 2020, and the Nasdaq rallied almost 3.77%, with beaten-up tech names pacing the gains. Absolutely. In Asian markets, the Nikkei index spiked 3.46%. Yay! Shanghai climbs 1.4%. Hang Seng surged for a second day, up 7%. Right, helping the U.S. listed Chinese stocks with reports from the FT late Wednesday and Bloomberg overnight that China's securities watchdog is weighing a proposal that will allow the U.S. regulators to inspect auditors working papers for some companies as soon as this year. Okay, that's not going to happen. They're head faking us. China's not going to be like, oh, go ahead, you can look at our stuff. They never have. They never will. Okay. In Europe, the DAX is down roughly 100 points. I just got stopped out again. All right. Last chance for glory is right here. All right. Okay. I was going to say, oh, check this out for crude. FTSE is down 100 points. Oil prices rebounding after a 3-day slide, with WTI crude back above 99 a barrel, rising 4.65%, while gold rebounds as well, up 1.75 to 19.43 an ounce. Treasury yields are pulling back from yesterday's highs, down at 2.11%. Right? So what does that mean? Was it a rally into the Fed, and now we could get the continued dump? I think so. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to pull up the old futures chart here. Right. And let's do this. Y'all want to look at that failed breakout that I was talking about? Right. The Wu-Tang reversal very rarely happens because it, right? 1, 2, 3 Dow reversal. I'm getting stopped out gain. A gain. That's a rough. I should have noticed. Tweezer top, pullback, and failure, right? I think I could draw one of my favorite. Oh no, we broke it. We're not looking the best, so let's get rid of that. All right, there's probably a big old trend line here that's getting broken. Right, there's that trender line. It's getting busted right now. If that's the case, then remember my little move from yesterday, right? So this might be. Yeah, that can't be right. So that's invalid. All right, let's get into the futures. Let's look at them globally. I'm going to take a real quick break here. I got to go do one thing. I apologize. But what I'll do is I will get this loaded up and then I will throw up the. Oh, gold is taking a hit right now. Right? So is bonds. And that. What's the yen? No. Can't remember what the yuan was. All right, let's do this. Oh, dude, So the power of the 200 is going to be in effect, right? I'll get through that in a second. Let me do this as well. 15, 15, 15, 15. All right, so we want to check out Morning Terry, Andrea, Johnny, and Michael. Let's, I want to look out. SPY. CVS. Oxy, and so UPS in sympathy with FedEx is a great call, right? Looks like I've got some blocks down here in SPY at 425 that have not been filled. Also way down here at 416, right? These 416 blocks are just sitting there waiting for owners to come and grab them. Okay, that's why I'm kind of bearish on this market still. All right, 1 second. I will be back. Uno momento. Check, check, check. All right. Sorry, I had to go take care of it. My dog was whining. Okay, so let's analyze. Let's analyze what's going on here, shall we? All right, from a daily perspective, let's just check in on our movement, right? We got a close above the 21 yesterday, but it was not more than halfway above the 21. So a little pop up to this snow line can be expected, right? Kind of like we did here, right? We did get close above the 21. We got head faked because the 200 was so close to us, right? And now we've got this snow line that's been major resistance in the past. So really a close above the snow line, rally up to retest the 50. 4,400, you know, that's kind of a lofty goal. If we do pop up to it, I think that we're going to see some rejection off of it again, right? It's held so far, and it's just a matter if there's any liquidity up here, right? If there's no liquidity, then we're going to jump through it up to the next level where we're going to start retesting. I'm kind of bearish today, to be honest with you. I think that we get a bunch of profit taking because there's a lot of uncertainty up at this level, right? Lots and lots and lots of uncertainty. And then we pull back. Keep an eye on the VIX, right? For you know, if the VIX starts popping, look at some drawbacks, right? We could always run a fib extension from low to high, right? Back down to low. You know, 127 puts us right at 44.08. Right, my favorite 1414 puts us testing the 50-day. So if we get that pop, then we know that Friday is going to be a down day, right? Or we get a down day here, right? Back to, I had all these support levels written out. Back to retest the 21, right? If the 21 holds its support, so pull back to about 4,300. If that holds, then we can look at a move going up, right? 1, 2, pull back, 3, 4, 5, move up, okay? Breaking it down to the 4-hour, we're just super choppy right now overnight. Haven't quite given up the ghost yet, but kind of rolling over. We hit that 200-day, right? We smacked right into it yesterday, right at 11, and chop, 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 chop. A little bit of failure, right? So if this is the big move up and this is a 50% retracement, right, then we should be able to clear the 4-hour 200, but it doesn't look like we're going to do that. So this fifth leg would be completed, right? We can consider this a completed Elliott wave move. One in here, there's 2, 3, 4. From a 4-hour perspective, let's look at what we got going on, right? We've got a one move up, right? 2, 3. Right, this could be 4, and then a 5 breakthrough. There's just, yeah, like I said, I feel like a lot of room down in here, right? Lots of room. From a quant level perspective, which is, I think, extremely important, we need to start looking at that. Oh. Is this the weekly here? All right, so that's a quarterly quant. We move down to, oh, let's get the right. You know what? Let's go back over here. Let's just stick with this. Like, we do have strength, right? We've got a little bit of momentum going on, and we crossed over. We got a 2150 crossover, but they're still right at some key fib levels. A back test to the 21 would be a pullback, 4270, right? Potential lows. Explosion above 43 about 43.67, right? From an intraday perspective, right? Hey, this looks great. Up and pullback, we're testing some key fib levels. Wait till these markers come in, right? Gonna have some stack positive moving averages. Come on, finish loading. There we go. Rallied up, failed the 21, riding the 50-day on the 30-minute. We start getting some closes below that, right? We may come back and retest this 200, right? That's a big move. So I'm looking at 42.70 to the downside. I'm just going to say 42.70 to the downside. If we do hold 43.71, excuse me, 43.62. Yeah, 43.62 to 43.71 is the magnet to the upside. That's if we can ride this 30-minute 50, right? If that holds, right? There's absolutely chopping back and forth here all day if we wanted to. I'm more inclined to look at a pullback, right? From this big move up. Like we pull back, we touch the 618, 50% retracement wouldn't be unheard of, 43.05, right? 382 to confirm this next push up at 42.90. But there's this big magnet down there. So find the time zone that you like to trade off of. Say you'd like to trade off the 30. Look at this fib move here from yesterday, right? This big move. And then look at what's happening here. Like we're compressing, we're squeezing in here. And I'm of the view that move down to 43.20, right? Retest the 618, right? And below that, we fall down. The snow line is a magnet, and so is the skyline. So yeah, there's definitely, it's gonna be a super fun move today. Okay, all right, moving on to the NQ, which I believe, sorry, it's a 4 hour. Let's look at the daily. All right, we had that move above the 21. Right, nice move above the 21 in tech. We're back testing the 21 on the daily right now. Looking for support for let's just do this. Let's just say this is the direction. We could easily just melt down, right? And ride this 21 down. If we get any violent closes below it, we've got 13,500 as a downside target. And upside, let's look at 14,362. Okay, it's on the daily. Let's see what's happening with the 4 hour. All right, there's that. We could melt down that purple line right there. We didn't even come close to the 200, but we did get a 2150 crossover, which is kind of bullish. But we've got this skyline at 13,836. So let's say below that, we back tested 21 at 13,550, 13,600, right? However long this comes up, looking at it on a 30-minute perspective, we're being squeezed between the 21 and the 50 right now, right? Like I said, if these levels crack, got this magnet down here. So if I were to run that same fib, right, from high to low, right, we pull back, right, a 50% retracement is not unheard of. A 382 would retest continuation of this move upwards, right? This looks real heavy right now, top heavy, okay? We'll know, like if we start exploding, all right, if we open and we start closing above 13,958, right? start testing 14,000, right? We could see it pop up to that and then a failure. There would be the 1, 2 would be a triple top, right? We got a double top here on the 30-minute. So just, yeah, I'm in a really horrible futures position right now. All right, moving back on to the Dilly Dally Daily Dow on a Thursday. All right. We still have the 2150 cross down on the 200, right? We're still trying to make that move up to retest the 50. Closed above the 21 at a 382 retracement from this high to this low. So on a daily perspective, 34,500 to the upside, right? The Dow smacked into the 200-day yesterday. Rally, smacked into it. Can't get through it. One more time, okay? So we've got a lot of strong overhead resistance at 3,400. Let's just call it 3,400. It's 34,057 really, right? So we could easily pull back to this fire line, support it through 33,620, right? Rising 21, rising 50. We're going to get squeezed. All right. So what happened on the 30-minute, right? We failed the 21, we failed the 50. We're trying to get back up into there, but we're being pushed down. So like I said, a possible pullback to this fire line 33,626. Below that, we retest the 200-day. And if we do that, I think we're going to get another explosive move like we did here. So if we dip down and we touch this 200 here, we're going to get a big move up, right? So long above, right? Long above 34,050, and then any failure down to here. That's on the Dow. And then looking at the red-headed Russell, right? Which, so we hit our tree line magnet, snow line to tree line, right? This is also the 50-day, right? If we can get above the 50-day on the Russell, then we have the zone right here up to the snow line, right? Or previous high. 2100 upside target. If we reject this, then I mean, it would make sense if we rallied up through the 21, tested the 50, pulled back to the 21 for support. So back down to 22 or 2000, right? And then tried it again to get through it. I just think this feels really heavy, right? So real heavy, rallied. That trend line has been pretty powerful. It's just because it coexists with a tree line. Okay, so on the 4-hour, the Russell has cleared the 200, and we haven't really back tested it for support yet. We may get that today. So 2009 is kind of the line in the sand. If we break down below that, I think we come back and test this skyline at 1991. So move down to 1991. We did get a 2150 crossover. So overhead 2040, support 2009-esque, downside move 1990, right? Pretty easy to see that on the Russell. Waiting for my lines to draw. Looks like they're not going to paint though. Okay. Yeah, they're not going to paint. All right, moving on to gold. So gold found some support, y'all. So this uptrend pulled back. 618 failed, 50% failed. Ugh. Dang it. I would consider this a 382 retest, right? We rallied up, got above the 21, above the 50, so gold 1960, I think, incoming, right? Support at 1927, 1926.50. If we fail that, then magnet down to 1890, using 1900 as a magnet. So 1900 to the downside on the break of 1926.50. Gold to the upside, 1962.40. If this move starts to happen here, then we can look at possibly retesting 2000, 2020. I think it's a little early to be doing. It's a little early to be trying to do some trendline stuff, but we could possibly look at making this one, right? I'm bullish on gold today. Crude, bullish on crude again, right off of our little demand zone that we drew for ourselves. Okay, on the daily, there's that trend killer candle that I call it. Looks like a sword, right? The sword pierces the trend and reverses the trend off of it. Okay. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Looks pretty good for crude. Looking at 103 upside target, support at 98.90. Below that, we've got a pretty decent demand zone for support right at 93, right? 93, 94. Below that, we fall quickly down to 87. 30-minute move, right? So so this move right here, those FIP levels have been pretty spot on, right? Been holding up and back, up and back, up and failure, right? 1935 is support with wicks down to 1933.50, right? We start closing below 1930, 1923 and coming pretty quick, okay? I'm liking the move on crude today. All right, we will keep an eye on crude. So that Oxy move, right? That CVX, right? Those crude plays. So TLT. So made a low, made a higher high, made a lower high, right? So I would look for TLT to start recovering, right? So for bonds to start moving back up, right? Off of this level here, actually, bonds are interesting. Let's look at those from 15-minute, right? So there's a big old demand zone right here, right? So this is, if you want to look at equity, look at TLT, right? You can play TLT to the upside off of this move. This will move inverse of the ES. So if the ES starts to drop, typically you'll see some money flow into bonds, right? Okay. And then this is the SPX, which on the 15-minute looks very bullish. We're right at a tree line or a snow line. Next line up would be this skyline at 44.14. From a daily perspective, chop, 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 chop. Retested the 21, right? So 21 failure, 21, 21, 21 breakthrough, 21, right? Doji, pull back, right? 200-day, ride the 200-day failure. Skyline, 21 retest, failure. 21 retest, failure or breakthrough. So SPX long above 43.54 for a move, touching 44.46. Serious overhead resistance at 44.65. If we can close in between above this white line, then we'll go white line to white line, right? That's why I said white lines are fun. All right, I think that's it for now. Checking out, I'll see what the numbers came in and said. Those are super bullish. Unemployment claims are down. Housing starts are up. Building permits up a little bit from previous, right? Or down from the previous, up from the previous, down from the previous. Manufacturing index is up huge, and yeah, so decent numbers. The market, what did the market do to react to them? All right. So on our intraday, this is the 8-minute candles, right? We're fighting to stay above the 200, right? We start closing below that, then there's nothing down here to support us, right? It's been a while since we retested the 200. This is a big old squeeze. Moving average squeezes are fun, right? They're a good time to watch because something's going to happen, right? It's not like a TTM squeeze or a squeeze pro where you don't know when it's going to pop off, right? These can only compress so much before they have to start making a direction. All right, let's get going. All right, the flow index, smart money dark pool block trade algorithm, predictive leading indicator, shows what smart money is doing. Looking at the SPY, and so the purple line is the flow index, green bars are price action, blue lines are dark pool block trades, red lines are regular block trades, white lines on the chart are a good time. But what they mean is that there's a regular and a dark pool that have printed on top of each other, and you can't separate them out. These white boxes are orders that have come in. Okay, I'm not 100%, but I believe they're orders that have not been filled yet. I have noticed that we can just pretend like those are magnets because price action will find them. Okay, so we do have some dark pools at 425.93 that I believe are just sitting there waiting to be filled. We also have some dark pools at 417.02. These came in on the 15th at the close. Well, we opened, we gapped up. So they're just sitting here, right? All of these have been filled. So these came in on the 16th at the close, the 15th at the close, right? Not necessarily been filled yet. So if that's the case, we got these blocks down here, right? That should act as a magnet to pull price towards it. The flow index is just trading 1-to-1 with price action on the SPY. Okay. Filled some gaps. Like we're right in a trading zone that runs 434 to 439, right? This gap right here has finally been filled. This gap here got filled. So $425 to the downside, and then 439 to the upside. Okay, and that's on SPY. Next up on our list is CVS. All right, see this has bearish divergence in that there's a gap right here. We've got regular blocks at 103, 104, a dark pull at 106.77, and a regular block at 106.98. Okay, if we can't start using those as support, the flow index is bearishly diverged. Most of this divergence here is already traded out, like the divergence from here, traded out, right? That's traded out. So we're looking at really, this is brand new, right? We've got price heading in one direction. At that moment in time, the flow index was heading in another direction. So divergence has occurred at approximately this level here, right, which is 105.71. I would look for that divergence to trade out, right? Below that, there's a magnet down to 104 that would successfully fill this gap that needs to be filled, right? All gaps must be filled. Okay. Moving on. Next up on our list is UPS. So, thinking that FedEx has some earnings today, UPS will sympathy play. We have got a dark pull level at 217.8, and there it goes. Right? Gap between 210 and 213. Another gap from 204.30 to 208. Flow index made a higher high, higher low. The flow index makes a higher high. I would anticipate some continued upward movement in UPS. If we reject this level here and the flow index starts pulling down, kind of like it did here, we can expect some pretty big moves to the downside. There's some gaps that are going to need to be filled. This block came in on the 15th at 1600. So this block came in on this day, right here. So a bunch of buy orders. Flow index was moving up at the time. Boom. Right. Flow index moved down. Divergence traded out. Price is trading 1-to-1. Okay. So all that divergence is traded out. See how this is just kind of floating in space? I don't think there's any support below that. All right. Oxy. Not the oxys you guys are thinking of, but Occidental Petroleum. Okay. Price is trading with the flow index 1-to-1, right? The flow index is trying to maintain its upward direction, right? Did it break it? It's got some support coming in right here. $52.99. We have a dark pull below that. We got some free falling moves to 51.46, 49, 47.75. So that was trendline support that it failed. So if it does fight its way back up through, right? I'm a little bit more patient, so I would wait for this wedge breakout, right? Long above 54, taking profit 55.36, taking profit 56.84. That's if the flow index bounces off of this level here, right? If it breaks down and price starts to break down, there's no blocks to help support us, right? There's nothing below it. Falling off the face of the cliff. Okay. All right. American Airlines. I've got about 3 minutes and I gotta go. Microsoft. MOS. Nobody's asking about financial stocks. Why not? Why aren't you guys talking about like MasterCard or JP Morgan, right? Or Goldman Sachs, right? Banks benefit off of inflation. Okay. All right. American Airlines, nice run the last couple of days. Gap and go. Right. Gap up, pull back, gap up, pull back, gap up, pull back. Right. There's a cadence going on there. Gap up, pull back, gap up, pull back, gap up, pull back, gap up, pull back. Right. This is all related to like the Russell, right? If the Russell can continue to move, then these small caps, right? These airlines, travel sectors, right? They'll continue to move. It would be horrible to have everything gap up overnight and fade off, and you have to just buy it at close and hope it gaps up, not gaps down, right? Horrible way to trade. We're coming up to the last of regular and dark pool support and resistance, right? 1638. There's a trading zone that runs, let's just call it 1650 to 1775, so another $1.25 move possible. Just watch the flow index, keeps moving up. Looks like we got a block right here at 1423. Right, 14 is the downside magnet. I wouldn't say more than 1750 the upside. Microsoft, bearish divergence, right? White line, 288.91. Remaining dark pool at 290, 295. So tap pullback, possibly. This is just pretty significant. We have divergence down to all right, so this divergence is played out. There's a longer term divergence down to 276. That's a big move down. If the flow index continues to sell off, I would look at a move back down to possibly test this trend line here, right? Maybe the white line magnet. Let's use 280. So 280 puts. To 300 calls on the break of 296, right? It's filled all its gaps. Now it's got to come back down. MOS, did we look at CVX? CVX, right? Consolidation, right? Below. Now, if it gives up support, it's going to pull back. Flow index has been kind of selling off a little bit, right? We have white line targets. We could go 157 to 166 to 170, right? That would be filling some upside gaps. Or support fails, 156 support fails, and we start filling these downside gaps, 150, 140, 45. This will be a fun one to watch. Keep an eye on crude, okay? I'm not sure what MOS is, but it looks like it's trying to maintain its trendline support, right? Long above 58.60, targeting 60. 62, 63. If this trendline support breaks and the flow index starts pulling back down, then there's some downside gaps that need to be filled. 53.77, 51.50, 51.50. This divergence traded out, right? Trading with price, trading with price, trading with price. A little bit of bearish divergence, okay? All right. That's it. I got to run. Thanks for joining me. I'm Dark Paul Algo. I'm here every morning, Monday through Friday. I'm going to start being here at 8 Eastern. I think that's a pretty decent time. We'll go from 8 to 9. 9 to 9:30 gives me time to prep my own stuff so that I don't keep throwing money away. Okay. Remember, oil prices are looking to rebound, right? After a 3-day downturn. Last little check in on the ES, right? 8-minute mark. We're still fighting that 200-day. NQ, same deal, fighting that 200-day. Okay, currently below it, right? We made a new low on the NQ, the Dow, right? This 21 crosses down below that 200, and I think we get fire line 33 626. The Russell looking healthy. Held the 200, rallied up, rejected the 21, 20, 20, 21, right? I don't know how many attempts we're going to get it closing above the 21 before we test the 50-day, right? So 50, 20, 50 SMA, 200 SMA squeeze, right? It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, stuff pops off, right? This is an H-shaped pattern, so I'm anticipating a pretty big fall on the Russell, right?